Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we're getting back into the Azure Lane Commander and Ship Guides, the combos. So a lot of people buy these combos together, and did recently when they just did last come out. I know it's been a little bit, but I did want to finish these and have these all ready for the next time Azure Lane comes out. Now we're doing Azure Lane Harbin today, the Commander and Ship. And this is one of my favorite Azure Lane combinations in the game. Alright, if it's not, it's very close. So let me explain why. We're going to start with Azure Lane Harbin, the Commander. Alright, she, in my opinion, now everybody has their different opinions, she is the best commander, premium commander in the entire game. All right, Karen and Billy Bob, settle down with your comments only because you play battleships. If you're talking strictly speaking as a commander that fits a line's play style, this is second to none. Now, I know most people will say probably Dunkirk or Hyde are probably the best premium commanders. I have them 2 and 3. And let me explain why. They are wonderful. You can build into accuracy, you can build into secondaries and accuracy, or you can just build into secondaries on them if you want. They're fantastic. Their base traits are okay, but not amazing. All right, so most people would have them guys 1 and 2, besides me. Uh, and this is why I have Azure Lane Harbin number 1. Her base trait, the best base trait in the game for cruisers outside of Membelli, in my opinion. If you have her, you should definitely be focusing on her for an inspiration. Her base trait, Dragon Power, raises the chance of HE and bombs causing fire 2%. That is huge, especially on light cruisers. All right. When it comes to light cruisers with HE spam, there is absolutely no better perk I would rather have. I even would take this over D or even over Membelli. And also, if that wasn't good enough, which it already is by itself, they throw in cruiser torpedo flooding chance. So, all them light cruisers we just talked about have torpedoes, or almost all of them do. Uh, I don't think we need to say why that's helpful, but honestly, even if it was just the HE fire chance, that's worth it alone, in my opinion. Um, and not only that, but Harbin fits this line so well. If you play any, I know I get that not everybody plays all the ships, but then all the commanders are going to be equal to you guys. However, if you play all the ships, Angela Harbin fits the Pan-Asian cruisers so well that it's not even funny, right? Every trait here that she has is actually usable, which is crazy. Is the only commander that I can think that has the best of everything for their ships. What do I mean? Well, you can build this ship 4 ways. All right. You can build it kind of hybrid-y, or and mix and match, but you could build into main guns, right? With beyond range, igniter. You could take sponge and like the smoke on water, right? For full guns, and you could take refill station. The other way is you can build into torpedoes. Look at the middle row. All great torpedo perks, including the legendary skills. And then also she has Look at Me Now, meaning you could do some really crazy detection builds with this. So you really can build this ship, this line, 4 ways, which is, and all of them are going to be viable compared to 2 or 3 ways really with some other really good commanders. All right. Not only that, if that wasn't enough, the legendary skills, it has the best legendary skills you could even ask for these cruisers. If it could have a fourth one and it maybe have the equilibrium one, I just don't know what you would do. But I'm just saying these are, if I was picking three legendary skills to have, I would want refill station, killing distance, and fully packed for this line. All right. There is not a unuseful trait in any of the skills. Also, uh, the one thing here too, her unique skill is Blazing Battle Dance. Cruiser torpedo damage while in a smoke screen 6% and cruiser torpedo reload while in a smoke is 10%. Again, a very handy trait, right? Like there is nothing on here that you wouldn't take. You could even take the movement speed. A lot of people do that when they're building into agility, which a lot of the Pan Asians already have a lot of agility. So that's up to you. And I know people will disagree with me. That's fine. Everybody has their own opinions. But Harbin is my favorite premium commander, hands down. I use her base trait on almost everything that shoots HE out on the cruisers. Now, that being said, let's get into the ship. Azurlane Harbin, pretty much Harbin, the Pan Asian cruiser, for the most part. There is some small differences, not huge, right? The smokes are different. You have two more. They're shorter smokes than the regular Harbin. And a kind of a big bonus, in my opinion, is these torps are not deep water torps. They're regular torps, which is really handy. All right, so that being said, for Harbin, we saw the commander build. We're going with Makawa for the extra detectability, Membeli for the reload, uh, and just for this ship, beyond range, just to help with the range a little bit. Igniter for the fire chance, back in stock for the reload, and a blazing battle dance, and along with fully packed to get our extra torpedo reloads, heals, and smoke. So our modifications, we're taking aiming systems mod 1, prop and concealment is always in them two slots, and a main battery mod 3 in this slot. For your loadouts, you have 6 smokes. They're 20-second consumable. They sit for 40, so they're short duration. They are handy though, and having 6 of them is awesome. Heals, they're not great, but having 3 of them does help, especially when you're going to run around fully packed to get the extra torpedo reload booster and the smoke generator. For your survivability, 34,000 hit points, but if you're not careful and not aware, it can be 0 very quickly. You have 10 130s that go out to 15.9, which for me is more than enough. I normally only need about 15 kilometers or so on light cruisers. I don't play these at the back of the map. All right. Your reload is 4.1 seconds. Your turret traverse is amazing at 8.5. Even taking the main battery mod 3 in that slot. Your HE shells 1800 damage, and you have a 13% chance to start fires on this build. Now remember, you're reloading every 4 seconds and throwing 10 shells downrange. 13% fire chance is pretty gnarly. And if you wanted to just farm battleships with this, you could just throw on Hagero for another 1% fire damage, and you can just be an absolute flamethrower with this, right? If you wanted, that's up to you. I don't play this at the back of the map, all right? But again, great. Also, AP penetrate or AP shell damage 2300. You don't have a lot of penetration with these. However, you can 100% when you get a couple fires on a ship, just go to town with the AP into the superstructure. Alright, and you'll do some damage. These are loftier guns, a little bit harder to aim, obviously like Harbin, but no worries there, right? You're probably used to it. AA defense, not super amazing, but it's not awful either. You have a lot of it in close, and that's the biggest problem with it. Uh, for Harbin, 33 knots, a 660 turning circle, which at the tier is very good, and a 6.9 rudder shift. She is pretty shifty. You don't have to build into the shiftiness, but if you want, you could do that. Concealment on this build is 9.5, so very good for a cruiser. You can get into some pretty good spots with that. And then remember here, your smoke firing penalty is 6.1, which I think is personally a little bit high for 130s. These are what, 5.1 inch guns? That seems a little bit high. All right, but just remember that when you're sitting in your smoke, if you get detected in your smoke, that means there's a destroyer right next to you, and you may want to pop out and just wreck him. When this thing gets a hold of destroyers at close range, it is absolutely awesome. That being said, you can see my stats in it. Listen, I like Pan-Asian cruisers. I just do. And now that I'm being more aggressive in them, I'm doing better. All right. Can you actually just damage farm battleships with this? Yes, but I feel like that's not going to help your team the most. With the detectability on this ship, the torps, the fire chance on these guns, all the good things about it. In my opinion, it's better played. Uh, fire spam when you can, but you can take on destroyers with this thing. Okay. Um, you can see not doing a particularly lot of damage in the ship, but my XP is good. All right. When there isn't a destroyer on your side, you can be a big destroyer essentially, which is really cool. But again, uh, obviously doing pretty well. The gun accuracy you can see was at 34%. These shells are really lobby. Sometimes it can be hard to get on track. Once you get your aim dialed in, it's pretty gnarly. That being said, you are wrapped in 16 millimeter, meaning anything over a normal over heavy cruiser, and you are a glass citadel, right? This is exactly what is there, and that is your citadel that you would try to bounce shells off of. Now, if you're going up against normal cruisers, normal heavy cruisers, or down, you can absolutely angle to them. But anything bigger than that, any super cruisers, large cruisers, or battleships are going to make your day a living nightmare if you're not paying attention, right? You need to be dodgy when you can because the Citadel, while it can get overpinned, I would not rely on it. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player. Not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we're on Scandinavia, and we don't have a destroyer on our side. To spot, we have two battleships that are going to sit behind islands for the most part. And that is handy that we're going to have the detection that we have. Also, guys, I'm not saying this is a great ship. I just like the combination of Harbin and Harbin. The commander and ship make a good combination. As you can see, these wonderful firing angles on Harbin. They are crazy good, right? Sometimes it's okay not to shoot your guns off. And that's a hard thing for me. As you can see, we're going to dump a bunch of torpedoes out using up a reload booster in the process just to get it out. And we're going to go ahead and smoke up. He shoots his guns off, so we're detecting him. That's right. We are detecting him. We are the closest thing to him. And Um, our battleships are just kind of hiding back there, right? Not ripping on them, but again, you have to try not to rely on teammates. And with this ship, you can get detection close enough where a lot of times when they shoot their guns off, you're going to be able to spot them. As you can see, we detect somebody else shooting their guns off, right? So we get two detect ribbons there. Not that they mean a lot, but just showcasing, yeah, we 100% can do that. Now, we are located, so there could be a destroyer on its way, and we're going to be careful. Also, the nice thing about these short torpedo, or the short reload, or the short smoke burst, is that you don't find yourself sitting in a smoke too long and eating torpedoes. Generally, by the time your smoke is done, you're gone out of there anyway. That being said, you can see we're being shifty. We're turning. We're trying to pay attention to who's shooting us. And we're going to be a little bit careful. We haven't done a lot of damage because we've had a lot of shatters on Delaware. But we got a little unlucky in fires, but we got a permanent fire now as we dodge that salvo from the other battleship back there. I think it was Atlantico. We get the first blood, first kill on Delaware. We go ahead and smoke up because we do have some spotting, and that goes away very quickly, obviously. I don't know how our battleship right next to us is 3 fires on him. I think that says enough about him as maybe as a player. But you have 3 fires, and you are behind an island. Also, you should probably take fight fire with fire, sir. That being said, both our other battleship as well is behind the island. And we're going to go ahead and come out and, again, spot Atlantico and shoot our guns off, right? Sometimes it's okay. Now, you can get caught sometimes. You can see I'm paying attention to Atlantico. I take a pretty gnarly hit from the one side. Not end of the world. We got a couple heals, but not ideal either. You can see this HE shatters a lot. So you're playing into the fire chance more than anything, especially on Atlantico that just has a bunch of armor on it and not a lot of superstructure. You get a hold of American battleship, a lot of times you're going to do okay getting into the superstructure. But as you guys can see, we are permanent fire here. And we're also, like I said, we're trying to be wary of who's shooting at us. We go dark here, and somebody's actually going to blind fire us here in about 10 more seconds or 5 more seconds. And absolutely obliterate us. I don't know what that was, but that was a heck of a blind fire shot. I guess it could have been as I was going dark, but I don't know. Either way, good shot by that person. I thought I was safe by that time. I was not paying attention. Now he's got my attention, obviously. And also, I'm starting to think there is possibly a destroyer maybe over here. I don't know for sure, but you can see I'm starting to move around a little bit more as well. And sure enough, you can see I was actually correct. There is torpedoes coming in. I had a pretty good hunch. We're spotted at 9.5. I'm assuming he's going over to that cap. We're going to drop some torpedoes over there. And sure enough, because it seems like he was going to want to chase battleships to torp them, he heads over there. So now that there's really only a destroyer for our teammate to worry about on sea, should be an easy victory for him. And we're going to go hunt down this destroyer. I get it, guys. I know. Could I go over here and farm damage? Absolutely. But, in a still a losable game, we have an Iowa on the other side moving into the cap, who obviously wants to go ahead and help get rid of this destroyer as well. And my bloodlust for destroyer knows no bounds. Alright, so we're just going to not worry about hunting battleships to farm damage, and we're going to want to get rid of this destroyer. Right? He took our cap. We want it back. And we're going to push in. He gets spotted over here. He gets caught. And we're going to go ahead and figure out our aim. You can see even at 5 kilometers, these left pretty good. These are basically destroyer guns. And we're going to go ahead and just try to lay into him the best we can. Velos smokes up, but he does sit there a little bit, so we're going to do our best as we can. We see we're getting some pins on him. So obviously he does not have much health at this point. And honestly, I probably should have kept firing over there, but not the world's biggest deal. I didn't know where he moved here at this time. And I start to charge in, making him run away. And he gets spotted and gets murdered by the Iowa. Kudos for that Iowa. Also, radaring. Or not radaring. Somebody did radar, but for kudos for him to care about getting rid of a destroyer. This is something rare you don't see from an Iowa. We come out to spot for the key. Right here, I decide to lay down smoke because there is 3 guys behind me. I think I'm golden, right? To go ahead and shoot. And like I said, there's times where we sped up there where honestly, it's okay not to shoot your guns on this ship. Alright? You don't want to get wrecked for no reason. And for some reason, every ship decides to come right behind my smoke screen. The destroyer, the small one, I don't know why destroyers do that. Like, just all you gotta do is spot, buddy. You have all the help here. So we don't get the spotting. I'm gonna pop out. Start to try to get key going again, because I want to get him backed up so I can get into this cap, so I can 1v1 this cruiser. There is a cruiser obviously over here right now, and he's close enough to airdrop me, so we're gonna do our best to try to get rid of him. Our destroyer, for some reason, decides to go behind us. Not ripping on him, but I mean. And then he actually does start to spot the cruiser a little bit, but then decides, that's probably not a good idea. I'm going to slow down. So we're going to push into the cap, try to take it, or force the cruiser to come at us. We do have torps ready, so if he does decide to charge us, probably not a good thing, especially having a torp reload booster as well. Our destroyer launches torps at us because he is proven to be that amazing. But it happens. We know we're not going to get much help here. And I want to take out this division. Honestly, they're the last ones on their team. And I like taking out divisions. We're going to go ahead and start to hit Harlem the best we can. We aimed a little bit too low at that first salvo there. And it cost us because we could have killed him much quicker. And again, we're just going to go ahead and take the cap and push up. So we got 2 caps in this game. And even though we didn't have the world's best fire chances, we did have key burning there for a while. So we did do some damage to him. Here towards the end, we're just going to go all willy-nilly with the guns here. Now, that being said, there's only a minute left and not much for points here. So, is what it is. He goes ahead and rides on the border to try to avoid taking damage, being cheeky. To be fair, he's actually going to do a decent job of that, but I don't care. I don't care for when people do that. I wish that there was the out of bounds worked more like you have a certain amount of time to get back in, or you just instantly die. That's how I feel it would work outside of people trying to be cheeky and using it for their aim, or making it a little bit tougher to aim. Not that it gives me a problem, but it does give a lot of people a problem as we get almost a 3K base game in Harbin. A solid match, top leaderboard, helping our team win. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you folks next time.